After 7 rounds of racing, covering 141 laps, 430 kilometres, and contested by 31 riders. The fight to become 2015 Australasian Supersport champion now comes down to 2 men.
Put in a big year this year and we've been consistent, we've been fast and everyone's working hard, so I certainly don't see any reason why we can't do it this weekend.
Finishing third last year was pretty cool, but yeah, to win it would just be amazing and just all the hard work would be paying off and yeah, it'd just be awesome.
Can the man who has led the series from the get-go hold on to claim the title for Suzuki? Or will his Yamaha-mounted rival from Caboolture snatch the glory away from him? 2 talented riders, 1 championship up for grabs. It's the grand final at Sydney Motorsport Park. Hello and welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park for the final shootout in the YRD Supersports as part and parcel of the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship. My name is Lance Robertson. Joining me throughout the entire season, Phil Harlan. This is set to go right down to the wire.
It certainly is, Lance. You couldn't have written a script that came out this good at the beginning of the season because we've got so many people that have won championship races this year, and the championship battle has come right down to the wire here at the final round.
Well, there's little less than a breath between the front runners. Of course, after 6 rounds, Braden Elliott came here with 1 point lead ahead of Callum Spriggs and Michael Blair. Troy Gunther in 4th, Paul Young and Jay Precipio rounding up the top 6. However, because of the rules and the regulations, riders must drop their worst round, which was, ironically enough, round 3 here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And if we have a look at the championship points coming into this final round now, you'll find that Callum Spriggs is a leader ahead of Braden Elliott, Troy Gunther, Michael Blair, Jay Precipio and Kyle Buckley in the top 6. So it's really a penalty for Braden Elliott.
A 12-point penalty, in fact, Lance, because he came into this round, as you said, he thought he had a 1-point lead. He's now 11 points behind, and he's only got 3 races to try and pull back that 11 points. It's going to be a big ask here at Sydney Motorsport Park, where all of the riders have had some good results this year.
Let's have a look at qualifying. It occurred yesterday throughout the 3 races, and finishing in 3rd place was Michael Blair on the Blair build Yamaha. He's been very consistent throughout 2015.
He has, and he sits in 3rd place in the championship, as we just saw. But it was really a battle between this top 3 because Braden Elliott, 2nd in the championship, 2nd in qualifying, and will start from 2nd on the grid for the races today.
But our pole sitter, Aaron Morris, who's been mixing business with pleasure overseas as well as here, he qualified first, but unfortunately with mechanical dramas will not take any place in any race here today. Many thought last year's Supersport title fight between Aaron Morris and eventual champion Aidan Wagner was the best they've seen to that point. But the title fight for 2015 Australasian Supersport champion had definitely eclipsed it by a long, long way. What started out as a battle between 5 talented riders in the early part of the year has now come down to 2, and the protagonists heading into this final round are worthy combatants. Tumut's Braden Elliott has led the title chase since the opening round, but having dropped his worst round now, he finds himself 11 points adrift of Callum Spriggs and is more determined than ever before to win the title for Suzuki.
Yeah, I definitely think I can do it. You know, we've put in a big year this year and we've been consistent, we've been fast and everyone's working hard, so I certainly don't see any reason why we can't do it this weekend. 11 points is a fair gap to make up, but you know, anything's possible, and if I can get out there and win some races, then I think it's definitely possible to achieve the win. You know, being the only Suzuki out there, we're all, you know, pretty well out there by ourselves, so as you said, it is close, so you know, there's probably 5 guys out there capable of winning. You only have to look at the lap times to see there's, you know, less than half a second separating us, so anything can happen. I'm sure it's going to be close, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the challenge.
The fortunes for Callum Spriggs have changed a lot in 12 months. The Caboolture rider was in contention for last year's title until a crash at Queensland Raceway aborted his hopes, and the best he could do was 3rd. 1 year on, and he is primed to claim that elusive crown.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident going into the last round here at Eastern Creek. So yeah, it's been a long, hard year, ups and downs, but yeah, coming into the last round, 11 points ahead is pretty good. But yeah, Elliott's riding strong, so it's going to be a pretty good battle to the last race. So yeah, there's a lot of fast riders out there today that are going to be mixing it up with us. So yeah, hopefully I can finish strong, and if not, win. So yeah, looking forward to it. yeah, it meant a lot. Like finishing third last year was pretty cool, but yeah, to win it would just be amazing, and just all the hard work would be paying off, and yeah, it'd just be awesome.
We are now set for 3 8-lap races to determine the YRD Yamaha Supersport champion of 2015. As we mentioned earlier, our pole sitter will not be at any of the 3 races because of mechanical dramas. Here it is, the championship points we mentioned earlier as well. A 12-point turnaround from 1-point lead. He's now 11 points behind the man on the right-hand side of your screen there, and that is the Hankook Tyres Suzuki of Braden Elliott. So Morris, Elliott, Blair and Gunther should be on the front row of the grid. Spriggs, Blythe, Levy and Buckley on row number 2. Scarcella and Mitchell head up row number 3 with Thomas Bryden, Cambridge Oliver. Then on to the 4th row, it's Michael Knight, Brad Swallow, Chiodo and Smith. Patrick Lee, Mayer, Parker and Ruffley rounding up the rest of them, with Warren Gibbs starting 21st and last on this action-packed grid.
Well, on board with Brad Swallow, as you can see, a packed grid of Supersport riders now. The revs rise. We're just about ready to blast off the line. We are away in the first race of the final round of the 2015 YRD Supersport Championship. The battle for the championship is between Callum Spriggs and the man from Tumut, Braden Elliott, but there's plenty of other protagonists that really want to get involved, and they don't really care who's battling for the championship as they all zoom down into iPone for the first time.
Callum Spriggs capitalised on the opportunity that there was no pole sitter. He was right behind him on the second row of the grid, or should have been. He had open air between him and the start line, and he's maximised that opportunity and takes up the running out of iPone, up over the West End Mazda Hill and down into DID Chains. He leads the championship, he leads the race, and he leads a man in contention, but not for long there. It looked like Braden Elliott tried very hard to get up the inside of him at Berwick Leathers.
Yeah, it looked like Mitch Levy on board 68 also got a great start. We're on board now with Michael Blair as they come up towards the Kawasaki corner. He closes in the back of Braden Elliott's Suzuki GSXR 600 as they stream up underneath the Sydney Motorsport Park Bridge and through turn 8, the fast off Canberra corner, and then down in towards turn 9, the stay upright corner. The first of the real overtaking opportunities in the latter half of a lap here at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Important to kiss the apex, run it wide, get the drive down Dunlop, because the triple apex corner of Bell Helmets is the next to encounter on this circuit here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Out of that, and the run down the Swann Insurance Main Straight is next up for them.
Yeah, Kyle Buckley on board bike number 83 has been confirmed to be with the SA Motorcycles BC Performance team next year. He was nearly out of the seat of the Kawasaki ZX6 as they stream onto the Swann Insurance Straight to complete this first lap. Back on board now with Michael Blair, the Finson Blair build Yamaha, another man that's been doing duty in Asia. In fact, we saw that Aaron Morris, the man who should have started from pole position, Michael Blair and Callum Spriggs have all been doing the Asian Road Racing Championship as well as the Australian Championships this year.
Well, Callum Spriggs would lead on 340 with Braden Elliott on 326 if they finish that way prior to that overtaking manoeuvre. A fantastic effort there by Braden Elliott to get up the inside of Callum Spriggs, and almost coming along for the joyride as well was the 78 of Michael Blair.
Well, cast your mind back to the last round, Lance. Under extreme pressure, Braden Elliott took the final race win to nudge that what he thought was 1 point ahead in the championship. He showed a great amount of mental determination and the way he could concentrate in that last race. Oh, well, he's going to have to pull it all out again because he's got 3 races to try and do the same here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Oh, typical Supersport racing action there as we go on board, and a very close passing manoeuvre into Kawasaki corner.
Ironically, the Kawasaki of the number 23 of Brad Swallow. We were on board with him. A great effort. Look at the width of the riders here coming out of Race Tech and jostling for position into that hard, the slowest right-hander here at Sydney Motorsport Park, stay upright corner. Michael Blair in third place gets a good run down Dunlop, but he's still got 2 key protagonists in front of him. Firstly, he's got to overcome Callum Spriggs, the man with the wide eyes on the backside, and he's looking forward at our race leader, the Hankook Tyres Suzuki of Braden Elliott.
Well, what Braden Elliott really needs to do is hope that Michael Blair and a couple of other riders can actually get in between himself and Callum Spriggs to pull back that point difference. There is only 3 points difference between first and second for the race wins and second place, Lance. He can't afford to win each race and have Callum Spriggs sitting lead in second place, because that will only get him back 9 points over the 3 races. He simply must get someone else well and truly into that mix, and I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to slow the race pace up a fraction, get Blair and perhaps Kyle Buckley and a few others up there into the mix as well to try and essentially rob points from Callum Spriggs.
Here's a replay of the start on board with Michael Blair. He started in third place on the front row of the grid. Braden Elliott swooped across in front of him, but there's Callum Spriggs right round the outside of him. In the meantime, Blair getting balked by the Hankook Tyre Suzuki of Braden Elliott, the machine number 7. Here's a look at it from the front. You could see that great run that Callum Spriggs got with no pole sitter in front of him.
Yeah, it was all action through that first corner though, as we go back on board with Michael Blair through turn 1. Here comes up the inside. That was a replay of the move that Braden Elliott put on to get the lead, but it wasn't long and Callum Spriggs was able to blast his Yamaha back on as they came down the Swann Insurance straight.
In the meantime, back to live action, heading out of Bell Helmets in the run down the Swann Insurance main straight. Kyle Buckley trying very hard to overcome the challenges of Mitch Levy just ahead of him. And in the meantime, though, here's this battle for the lead again. Callum Spriggs getting the slipstream, trying to get up the inside of Braden Elliott, and looking right behind them, a man that's a real danger of taking this race out, the 78 of Michael Blair.
Well, these are the top 3 in the championship, and there's the reason why. They are the 3 class acts of this championship in 2015. Nothing has separated them at most of the rounds that we've been to, and the great thing is, Lance, that we've seen a lot of other riders get up there and have a real good round or 2 over the season, but unfortunately at the end of the day the cream rises to the top, and these guys, they're the cream of this class in 2015.
It's all about consistency, not only in each race but over a 7 race meeting season. And it's certainly been a battle royale with these 3. They can hold their heads up high no matter where they finish at the end of today's activities, because they've certainly done themselves, their teams and their family and their fan base very proud.
Look at this battle for 3rd, off for 4th, 5th and 6th place as well, with Mitch Levy, Kyle Buckley and Benny Blythe on board the WNR Kawasaki. Then it is the Kawasaki pairing of Brad Swallow and also Troy Gunther. He's the find of the season for me. 16 years old when he started the season. I think he's only just turned 17. Oh, he can get a licence now, but he's been on the pace all of the season 2015. And this is the 3rd time he's actually been now to Sydney Motorsport Park. He'll know where the track goes.
Talking about knowing where the track goes, here's this battle for the minor placings. Mitch Levy on 68, 83 of course Kyle Buckley, and they're just heading off. 2 more runners behind them, Brad Swallow being the Dayglow green and yellow coloured leathers. Here comes Callum Spriggs, gets the slipstream up the inside of Braden Elliott, and all the number 78 of Michael Blair can do is sit back and watch at this stage.
He just doesn't seem to have the pace down the Swann Insurance straight that Callum Spriggs has. He may have not been close enough to get the advantage of the slipstream, but look how strong he is on the brakes around the outside. That's a big move, and he's done his fellow Yamaha rider a big favour there by slotting himself in between the championship leader and the man that sits currently in 2nd place.
Yes, I think he's leaving his best till last. We're on lap 5 of 8. He doesn't need to win the race right now, but he does need to be in contention. He's testing out where he's strongest and the others are weaker, and I think he's just found one of those spots. Make that 2 spots up the inside through Berwick Leathers he goes.
Yeah, it's when you can string those 2 corners together and take them as one particular set of corners, you really get the good run, and that's exactly what Michael Blair did there. Maintains the lead up towards Kawasaki corner and blasts hard out towards turn 8. He's going to leave these 2 behind if he keeps this sort of pace up and let them battle for the championship amongst themselves while he pins his ears back and goes for the race win.
It's rather ironic and coincidental because he is one of the YRD or Yamaha Rider Development riders that's been nurtured throughout the season and the past couple of years. Here's a replay of Blair going around the outside of Braden Elliott and then trying to get up the inside of Callum Spriggs. He couldn't do that for another 2 or 3 corners, but he did it with consummate ease, didn't he?
And he was so smooth in between those corners, carried so much corner speed through there. And there you can see a replay of the second part of that manoeuvre where he went around the outside of, got a good run through turn 4 and then up the inside at turn 5 and was in the lead by the time they got to the top of the hill at Kawasaki, which is exactly where they are now, Lance. The lead, he hasn't been able to pull out much, but it's enough in Supersport terms.
It is, and it's Yamaha first, Yamaha second, Suzuki third, but will it stay that way as there are battling Kawasaki's right behind them also?
Oh, was that Mitch Levy well and truly out of the seat? He was lucky to stay on board the Mitch Levy Motorsport machine there as he comes down in towards turn 9, the stay upright corner. But we're on board with Brad Swallow. He's behind the WNR Kawasaki. Was that Kyle Buckley doing a bit of dirt tracking on the way out of stay upright, off onto the grass and trying to get a run up Dunlop Straight, just ahead of Ben Blythe on board bike number 25. Oh, geez, right up close on the back of the WNR Kawasaki. Now we go.
Out of bell helmets and getting the run down the Swann Insurance main straight. Brad Swallow trying to get that slipstream. Will he be able to effect an overtaking manoeuvre about the time when he needs to, and that's before the finish line in a couple of more laps. In the meantime, our race leaders heading out of turn 1 and the run down into Ipone 2. It's all Michael Blair out in front.
Oh, the front three was sliding it through turn 1. So was Kyle Buckley, who sits in a lonely 4th place at the moment on board the SA Motorcycles BC Performance Kawasaki, all drifting it at over 230 kilometres an hour on these Supersport machines through turn 1. That's scary stuff, Lance.
Talking about scary stuff, these three with their wheels almost opposite lock as they come up over the West End Mazda Hill and down into DID chains. There goes Elliott up the inside of Spriggs, now chasing hard after Blair.
You see how hard both of them got on the gas as they tried to get the run up the hill. At the moment, it is just Elliott ahead of Spriggs out of turn 6, the Kawasaki corner. Hard on the gas again. You can see Braden Elliott going for the second twist of the grip on board the Phil Tatum prepared Suzuki.
Out of race tech, down towards stay upright, the hardest right-hander here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and it looks like Michael Blair is certainly comfortable leading this race in the latter stages. Here's a replay of Spriggs trying to get back up the inside of Elliott with I guess you could say no chance at all with Elliott chopping off the nose.
Yeah, he also got in there incredibly sideways, as he's been able to do all weekend, and not hamper his drive out of the corner. But when we come out onto the Swann Insurance start-finish straight, it is still Michael Blair that is leading these two championship battlers. A well and truly good race at the moment, but I think Blair is just going to lead across the line. He will start the last lap now, just ahead of the lead, and at the moment, Braden Elliott is only going to pull back 2 points on Callum Spriggs.
9 points will be the difference at the end of this race if they finish the way they are at the moment. Michael Blair doesn't care about that. He wants to maximise the opportunity of 25 points out of this one and consolidate his minor placing in the championship for 2015.
Just looking back, looks like Kyle Buckley still in a very lonely 4th place as they virtually fall off the end of the West End Mazda Hill and down into DID Chains turn 4. If anything, Spriggs has lost a little bit of distance now, and can Braden Elliott get up the inside of Michael Blair and take 5 points away from Callum Spriggs? If he gets into the lead of this race and Spriggs finishes in 3rd place, that is exactly what will happen, Lance.
Well, Elliott's got it all to challenge here. It's all in front of him. There's a big carrot, and it's called a championship for 2015. If he can do it, it'll certainly give him the best opportunity with 2 more 8-lap races to come today. One of those being in twilight conditions. Down into stay upright for the final time. It's all Blair at the moment with the Hankook Tyres Suzuki of Braden Elliott trying very hard not to be the Suzuki meet in a Yamaha sandwich at the end of this lap.
Well, I think he needs to get right up onto the back of Blair's machine, Lance, because I don't know if the Suzuki's going to have the legs at the end of the straight to try and get past in the slipstream. He's done a great job. He needs to get on the gas early and use the attributes of that Suzuki engine to pull right into the slipstream and hopefully just pull out to get the pass at the end. Can he do it? He's gone to the inside of the track. I don't know whether that's going to do it. I think Blair will take the win.
Yes, Blair gets victory ahead of Elliott. 3rd place to Callum Spriggs. That should mean only 9 points separate, but more importantly, 2 points has been gained by Elliott.
With 2 races to go now as they slow down on this warm-up lap. I'm sure they'll be doing the calculations in their head to know exactly where they are, and I reckon that Braden Elliott's mentor Sean Giles was having kittens on pit roof as he watched that race unfold. But Michael Blair taking the victory, Braden Elliott in 2nd, Callum Spriggs in 3rd. Championship battle narrows by 2 points. Kyle Buckley and Brad Swallow, Ben Blythe, Troy Gunther, all Kawasaki mounted, round out that top 7.
Let's take this opportunity to cross down to our presentation area and hear from our top 3.
Yeah, still we've got a couple of points then, but yeah, still got a handy lead. But you never know till the last race is over of the day, and yeah, it's going to be riding hard for the rest of the day. So yeah, it's going to be a good hard battle, I reckon. Just can't wait to the end, see who's going to be on top.
Yeah, definitely. It was a tough race out there. You know, we're all pushing pretty hard and battling against each other. So, you know, 2nd was probably the best we could do then. Another few laps, and I would like to try and chase down Michael. But that's the way it goes. We'll go back and see if we can make some improvements for this next one.
Yeah, you know, the boys having a good battle out front. I kind of just had to sit there and wait it out, see if there was a few mistakes to be made or what. But yeah, I felt I had the pace and could get through safely, and yeah, really happy with the win.
Well, what he thought was a 1-point lead was an 11-point deficit. He's clawed back 2 in that first race. Join us on the other side of this break to see if Braden Elliott can do more of the same. Welcome back, folks. Race number 2 in the YRD Supersport category coming your way from Sydney Motorsport Park as part and parcel of the Australasian Superbike Championship of 2015. Well, Phil Harlem, what must be going through the minds, especially of Braden Elliott and Callum Spriggs?
Well, Callum Spriggs will be saying, I've got clear hole in front of me where Aaron Morris should have been. I need to get that start. And well, Braden Elliott's just thinking, I need to win the race. I need to get as many points back as I can. And he's hopeful, I suppose, that he can get as many people between him and Callum Spriggs as he possibly can.
Well, if you've only just joined us, folks, the news is that Aaron Morris on the Maxima Oils Racing Yamaha was supposed to be your pole sitter. He spun a bearing in his bike, blew an engine up, and has taken no further part in the race meeting. Therefore, there is nobody in position number 1. A clear shot for the man on the second row of the grid, Callum Spriggs. Braden Elliott, Michael Blair and Troy Gunther, therefore, are on the front row. Callum Spriggs, Ben Blythe, they're the 2 key protagonists on row number 2. 21 riders in total will take to the start of race 2. 8 laps duration. We're only 16 laps away from crowning the champion of 2015.
Yeah, but there's 16 long laps here at Sydney Motorsport Park as we go on board with Giuseppe Scarcella, who only a couple of years ago was racing over in Europe, but he's back in Australia, and great to see him back at the final round of the 2015 Championship. Lance back there on the third row of the grid, on board one of the only Hondas in the field as we blast off towards turn 1.
Well, it's Elliott around the outside of Gunther, but there is the number 3 of Callum Spriggs again getting clear air, driving hard round the outside. Will he be able to outbrake his opponents down into turn number 2, the first of 2 iPhone corners?
Yeah, great footage there from onboard Brad Swallow's machine. You can see how close and how tight it is in a Supersport race as they stream through iPhone corner turn 2. And if they stay like this, well, you can guarantee that it's not going to stay like this because it is Supersport racing, but that is exactly what Braden Elliott needs. He needs people between himself and Callum Spriggs, and he'll be hopeful that Troy Gunther and Kyle Buckley can get their Kawasaki's up there and give our championship leader a little bit of what's for.
It is Braden Elliott that leads out of Berwick Leathers, and the run up over the hill into turn 6 Kawasaki corner. Right behind him, Michael Blair. Callum Spriggs, who leads the championship, coming into this second of 3 races by only 9 points, is in third place at the moment.
Well, one of the things about Callum Spriggs this weekend is he had a big crash last weekend, not on board a motorcycle, Lance. He was out water skiing or wakeboarding and actually collided with a submerged tree. If you have a look at him, he's got some cuts on his face. That's exactly what that's from. And he also hasn't got his mechanic, Matt Graham, with him here this weekend, who's been by his side for the entire season. In fact, the last couple of seasons, and also in Asia. So that may be playing on his mind a little bit as well. But what he has been, not only this race, but he's been incredibly fast at this track. He has got race victories here this year. He'll be hoping to do more of the same today.
A great battle for 4th, 5th and 6th placing at the moment as well, with Troy Gunther feeling the pressure of Mitch Levy right behind him, and then of course Kyle Buckley, behind him, and Mitch Levy behind Kyle Buckley.
Well, normal service has been resumed from race 1. Michael Blair up into the lead on board the Vincent Blair built Yamaha, but coming back strongly on the inside is Braden Elliott. I know that Phil Tainton's been working on this bike this weekend, changing the gearing around from yesterday, just trying to eke out every little bit of performance out of the Suzuki that he can. And at the moment, he's really got to try and find something because Michael Blair this weekend has been absolutely on fire. Remember last year, he suffered from that broken wrist at the beginning of the year, which essentially meant that the whole year was a non-event for him. He has been so determined to get good results this year, and he sits in a clear 3rd place in the championship, and he's already got 1 race win under his belt today.
Kyle Buckley back in 5th, trying very hard, bringing up the dust on the outside of iPhone turn 3 in the background of our previous shot. In the meantime, Scarcella currently in 9th place. He's got some problems. He's gone straight ahead of Kawasaki, outbroke himself. Is it a mechanical drama?
Well, it looks like it could be. It looks like the Honda CBR 600 is coasting to a stop up there at Kawasaki corner. But back to the battle at the front now. It is still Blair leading from Elliott, Callum Spriggs. Then it's Troy Gunther. the young Queenslander who's, well, as we said this year, has been to so many circuits for the first time. This is the third round at Sydney Motorsport Park, Lance. This will be the only track now that he knows which way it goes, apart from his home circuit at Queensland Raceway. Speaking of Queenslanders, he's got the Queenslander Kyle Buckley glued to his ducktail.
Mitch Levy not far behind him, and a very creditable six being held down by Luke Mitchell at the moment. On board with Scarcella, a replay of the start. You can see everybody jostling for position in turn number 1. Condition normal, especially in a YRD Supersport race. A replay also of Braden Elliott getting up the inside of Michael Blair in the early stages.
Oh, haven't we seen some great moves at turn 2 so far in the racing at this round? And that was another one of them. Look how close they came on the exit of turn 2 there. And we go on board now with Michael Blair. You can see Elliott gets just up the inside, but runs a fraction wide, allows Michael Blair to get back up the inside, and it's been like this for the entire race so far, and I expect that we'll keep going like this for another 5 laps until the checkered flag comes out to signal the end of race number 2.
Any one of these top 6 runners that you're seeing fly past you now on the entrance to Race Tech Corner could well take this one out. That's how close the championship's been throughout 2015 as well. It's been a thrilling season. I guess you could say a very fitting way to finish here at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Oh, exactly. That's exactly the way it is. It is a really fitting way to finish the championship. These two are starting to get away a little bit at the front, and coming under a fair amount of pressure now is Callum Spriggs on board bike number 3. He leads the championship by 9 points, but if those two riders behind him, Kyle Buckley and Troy Gunther, they're all Queenslanders, all 3 of them, so they all want to beat each other and have the right of being the first Queenslander home over the line. Of course, we've got 2 New South Welshmen, the man from the Central Coast and the man from Tumut that lead.
Of course, those riders you've just mentioned wouldn't give 2 hoots about the championship. They're out there to get the best position they possibly can. Let the championship be determined by themselves. In the meantime, Elliott again hard charging out of turn number 1 down into Iphone turn number 2. This time he's maintained a good track position and has not allowed Michael Blair to get the run around the outside of him in turn 3, also known as Iphone. The run up over the top of West End Mazda Hill, leading down into a very fast combination right-hander. First of all, it is the DID Chains corner. As you've mentioned before, Phil Harlem, it's very important to get good rhythm through here in Berwick Leathers and the run up to Kawasaki.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing that I'm just watching though too, Lance, is that this is once again what Braden Elliott did at the final at the last round at Whitten Motorsport Park. He's actually got a pretty good lead under immense pressure as this battle really goes on, with Gunther getting up the inside of Kyle Buckley down in towards Kawasaki corner on the fresh Chef Kawasaki entry, and he has been a fresh addition to this championship in 2015. As we said, he started off the year as a 16-year-old in his first serious year of road racing, but Lance, he's been riding motorcycles since he was 4 years old. That's pretty much his entire life.
It certainly has been. As we saw previously there, the graphic showed there would only be 4 points difference if the race was declared right now between first and second place. A great effort from Braden Elliott. So Callum Spriggs needs to make up some valuable ground and grab some positions and points.
Oh, is that Mitch Levy? He was off the track. He thought he was at the Troy Bayliss Classic dirt tracking as they came out onto the Swann Insurance Straight. He was lucky to keep that bike upright. And I think he showered Ben Blythe, who was right behind him on board bike number 25, with rocks and dust, James Bond style.
Here it is, a replay. Takes the outside line very wide indeed. Luckily kept the throttle wide open. Here's a replay again of that last overtaking manoeuvre of the Hankook Tyres Suzuki of Braden Elliott getting up the inside of Michael Blair in turn number 2, Iphone corner.
Well, back to live racing action now. It is Callum Spriggs, Troy Gunther and Kyle Buckley up to the back of the circuit from towards turn 5 towards turn 6. Really important part of the circuit now. The 2 Yamahas are right onto the ducktail of the all-site concrete cutting R6 of Callum Spriggs as they make their way around through turn 8 down in towards turn 9, the stay upright corner. Looks like Mitch Levy with that dirt tracking has just dropped off a little bit. In fact, Luke Mitchell is starting to move forward on board bike number 6. A man that's got also a very astute campaigner in his crew as crew chief. The man that used to be in charge of the Yamaha Racing Supersport team many, many years ago, Marty Dowd.
Look at Kyle Buckley hassling the rear cowling there of Troy Gunther. In the meantime, Gunther trying very hard to get up and past Callum Spriggs. This battle is for the minor placings. It's also got great ramifications for the championship though.
Yeah, on board with Brad Swallow as we drive out onto the Swann Insurance Straight, trying to get the slipstream advantage here from the WNR Kawasaki, the team that's run and managed by the former dual World Endurance Champion Warwick Nowlan, but the flip and flow entry just can't quite stick in the slipstream of that very rapid Kawasaki ZX6.
Down into turn number 1. Look at the speed that they carry, and of course the width of the track is well and truly needed here at Sydney Motorsport Park in the fastest corner, one of the fastest corners in Australian motorsport.
You can see Ben Blythe go to the inside there to make sure that there was no way Brad Swallow was going to get up the inside. Good battle here. Patrick Lee on board bike number 29. He's been more in the team by himself this year as opposed to last year when he was surrounded by teammates, but he's having a ding-dong battle here, surrounded by fellow competitors as they come down towards the iPhone corner.
Up the inside, James Parker tried on board machine 91, unable to do it though, and Lee leads him through iPhone. In the meantime, Troy Gunther getting the upper hand of Callum Spriggs. What does this mean for the championship as Braden Elliott still leads, heading down into stay upright?
Well, as they get back to those positions, it's only 1 point penalty for Callum Spriggs at the moment, but what he wants to make sure of is the fact that Kyle Buckley doesn't get past either. Otherwise, this could have massive championship ramifications for the rider from the Sunshine Coast.
Luke Mitchell on board machine number 6 in the background there, doing a great job trying to tack onto the back of these. He could also play a very important part in the championship.
Well, we're getting down into the final stages of this race too, Lance. There will only be 2 laps to go as they come across the start-finish line on this occasion. But you can see here is Troy Gunther driving hard up the inside, gets the inside run down in towards turn 2. What was that we said before? They're all Queenslanders and looking for the top Queenslander position. They don't care about the championship. They just want to get the best result they can and go into the off-season on a high.
Well, you mentioned Troy Gunther earlier on in our commentary, and certainly his efforts throughout 2015 need to be recognised and acknowledged. He was very strong up at Queensland in his own race, his home race meeting, and he's certainly been one of the finds of the season, as you mentioned earlier.
But Queensland Raceway was in fact the only track that he'd ever been to before this season started. He came to Sydney Motorsport Park at the first round. He'd never raced here before, and the other tracks where we only have 1 round, he was fast straight away. Remember, he set pole position for the Saturday racing at Mallala as well, and the sight of him sliding that bike in towards some of the corners was absolutely unbelievable, considering that he'd never been there before. But he's a young man in a hurry. He has got experience for racing overseas, and that's where he wants to go in the next couple of years. In fact, all of these riders want to race overseas. Braden Elliott, he's no different. He leads the race, and he looks to try and claw more points back in the championship battle as well. And he's done what he needed to do. He's got Michael Blair and Troy Gunther in between himself and the championship rival Callum Spriggs.
He's on board the Hancock Tyres, Royan Truck Repairs, Muscat Trailers, Suzuki GSXR 600. He has Sean Giles, his mentor in the camp. His family, the family-run businesses that they have been supporting him throughout 2015. He came to this championship deciding round at Sydney Motorsport Park thinking he was 1 point ahead as Kyle Buckley goes around the outside now of Callum Spriggs and puts him a little bit further back. With the adjustments...
Spriggs comes back at him though, Lance.
He certainly does, and he knows he needs to, because with the adjusted points after 6 rounds, dropping your worst round, it meant that he came into this final race meeting 11 points behind, not 1 point in front.
Well, he knows he's got his hands full in this last lap too, because Kyle Buckley is not going to lie down and let him have this result. And if he's not careful, Luke Mitchell, who's only a couple of bike lengths behind, could well and truly be back in the mix. Here's a replay. Buckley goes around the outside, gets the run down in towards the iPhone corner. Unfortunately, he just slips a fraction wide, misses that second apex. Callum Spriggs, who was on a much tighter line, was able to pull the bike back and get out of the corner in in the lead of that little battle. But Kyle Buckley comes back. Oh, this is going to go right down to the wire.
Round the outside, he tries in stay upright. Can't do it. Uses up all of the black stuff and some of the concrete on the outside. And the run down Dunlop into Bell Helmets for the final time on this final lap. Kyle Buckley, we're concentrating on the efforts here, because if he can actually get in front of Callum Spriggs, then the man that's going to take the checkered flag on board the Hancock Tyre Suzuki, Braden Elliott, will be better off. He gets a checkered flag in fine style. He maximises his opportunity of being the YRD Supersport champion of 2015.
Yeah, Michael Blair takes a very strong second place as they come across the line. Troy Gunther should have got third, and I think Callum Spriggs has only just held on for 4th position.
He has indeed, with Kyle Buckley in 5th and Luke Mitchell rounding up your top 6. That was the battle royale, and I guess you could say it may well be the championship defining race of 2015. He's a pretty happy chappy heading back to the pits. Let's recap the results. Braden Elliott, Michael Blair, Troy Gunther, Callum Spriggs, Kyle Buckley, Luke Mitchell, a great effort in 6th, Mitch Levy, Brad Swallow, Ben Blythe and Cambridge Oliver, all the way down to our non-finisher Scarcello. Let's go down to the pits and hear from our top 3.
Yeah, it was a really fun race. The track conditions were really hot, and sliding around a lot, but can't thank Chris Jones, triple X-rated race suspension. He's given me a great setup for these conditions.
Yeah, we don't want to be sitting in second, that's definitely not a position we want to be. Had a good fight at the start there for first, but Braden's riding awesome, so he could pull out the gap, and I think the third one's going to be a really tough race, so we'll just go back and regroup and see how we go.
Yeah, definitely. This is really important for the championship. This is what we need to be doing all day. So I'm glad we managed out there. It's getting pretty slippery. This heat's playing a huge role in it in the tyre wear. But I come from a big dirt track background from when I was 4 years old. So I think them skills can certainly play in to my favour today. One more race to go, and we'll see what we can do.
Let's indeed see what he can do on the other side of this break. It was 11 points at race 1, 5 in race 2. It's now only 2 separating him from Callum Spriggs and championship victory in 2015. Join us on the other side of this break. Thanks for sticking around for this third and final encounter in the YRD Supersport category. We're here at Sydney Motorsport Park as part and parcel of the Australasian Superbike Championship. Joining us down on the track is indeed Bryony Ingerson and Cam Williams, and they'll be bringing some interviews with some of the riders, the key contenders here. And I guess you could say that Braden Elliott is a man with all the pressure on his shoulders at the moment, and down trackside is Bryony Ingerson with that man indeed.
Yeah, Braden, you've been in some pressure situations before in your racing career. I imagine this is one of them. What is the plan of attack for this final 8-lap race?
Look, the only plan I can really have at the moment is trying to go out there and do the best that I can. Obviously need to win this race, so it's just going to be straight at the start and give it everything I've got.
You've got some fantastic mentors in Phil Tainton and Sean Giles. What were their words of advice to you before you came out?
Look, they haven't said too much. We've just kept it a pretty relaxed situation. It's not the first time we've been in this sort of position, with the Australian Championship earlier on in the year. So I think, I know what to do. I'm pretty relaxed about it. So I'll just be focused on the start, put my head down and go for it.
All right, good luck. Cam?
Callum Spriggs, really is go time for you right now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty nervous as you always do. It's going for your first championship, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's just going to be an all-out battle, I think, because obviously we've got to finish ahead of each other, and I think I'm just going to leave here and do the best as I can and just give everything I got it, and just make the best rider win, I suppose.
Best of luck to you, Callum Spriggs. Phil and Lance, back up to you.
Thank you very much, Cam Williams, and of course Bryony Ingerson joining us as the sun is starting to set in the background. We've made mention about it being a twilight meeting. There is only 2 points, as you can see there, folks, between Braden Elliott and of course Callum Spriggs. Recapping your starting positions: Aaron Morris, a vacant position, blown engine, taking no part today. Elliott, Blair and Gunther on the front row of the grid, but it's all about Callum Spriggs on row number 2. He's got the clear air, the clear vision on the outside of the starting grid.
The other thing is though, Lance, 3 points is the difference between first and second for the individual race. 2 points is the difference in the championship. To guarantee victory, they both need to go for that race win. As we go on board with Michael Blair, the revs rise. We're away in the final race of the season. YRD Supersport Championship has all come down to this.
Braden Elliott got a great start, but again with clear air in front of him and a clean run down through turn number 1 around the outside, the all-site concrete Yamaha. He got blocked in there. I'm talking about Callum Spriggs. There he is on board machine number 3. He's further back than he really would like to be. Michael Blair runs it a little bit wide, gets balked down into iPhone under brakes for the first time.
Now, unfortunately, our race 1 victor is a fair way back in the pack as they stream through turn 3 and across the top of West End Mazda Hill for the first time. But who got fired out of a cannon? It is the man on board bike number 65, the young Queenslander Troy Gunther. He's come into this last race. He hasn't had a win in the season so far, and he's got off to a great start in this final race.
Elliott in second, Mitch Levy in third. Then we've got Michael Blair followed through by Callum Spriggs. I think you'll find that might be Blythe on 25 that's up there in 5th place at the moment.
Well, Callum Spriggs, hopefully he's just taking a couple of laps to settle down, get everything in order before he starts to really make a charge. but you can't afford to do that in Supersport because there are so many fast guys in this championship. In fact, you have a look in the top 10, you wouldn't be surprised to see any one of them win a championship as they go 3 wide through stay upright turn 9. Oh, they were lucky to all stay upright there as Luke Mitchell got a great run through that corner and made up 2 positions.
But it's a young gun, Troy Gunther, as we've mentioned. I guess he's been a virgin at many a track here this year in the series, but he's certainly risen to the top of the pops in this last one, doing a great job to lead early stages.
And he's also got the man with 3 surnames, Paul Grant Mitchell, looking after his bike here this weekend as he streams down the start-finish straight to take the honours over the first lap. That's going to be an impressive first lap for Troy Gunther when we have a look at those lap times. But look at Mitch Levy. Mitch Levy and Michael Blair coming very close together as they went through turn 1 at 220 kilometres an hour plus.
If the race finished right now, then Braden Elliott would be declared your YRD Supersport champion by 4 points. But I think there's still plenty more script in this book to come.
Yeah, I think Callum Spriggs actually made up a whole lot of distance in the latter half of that first lap as they stream across the top of the West End Mazda Hill now. Michael Blair has lost a little bit of distance between himself and Braden Elliott, who's sitting in second place. But Callum Spriggs is closing in very quickly on Michael Blair, and he will be absolutely desperate to try and get past his fellow YRD rider. Will he let him pass? No way in the world.
Well, Braden Elliott trying very hard, so too as Blythe. Looked right behind him as Kyle Buckley, and Brad Swallow not that far behind him also on that green liveried machine.
Oh, Cambridge Oliver sliding it through the off-camber turn 8. Spectacular vision there of the rider on bike number 9. He's got Tom Bryden on board bike number 10 right behind him as well. A great battle between the Yamaha privateers back in the pack as we go on board with the flip and flow, the tap-out energy machine of Brad Swallow as they go up the Dunlop Straight and into the final complex of corners that finishes the lap here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Closing up now onto the back of the WNR Kawasaki, ridden by Ben Blythe, bike number 25 is Brad Swallow. Just ahead of him is Luke Mitchell on board bike number 6. Head down behind the screen and blast out onto the straight.
Take a breath, have a look at the replay of the start. On board with Michael Blair, you could see that he got swamped, balked, and had to take evasive action, not once but twice. Firstly to the outside of Braden Elliott, and then again a repeat performance. He was also swallowed up there by Mitch Levy on the outside, who took up the running of third. That balked him. He ran a little bit too wide, but still maintained 4th position in the early stages. There he is on board machine number 78 back there in 3rd.
Yeah, Mitch Levy's right onto the back now of Michael Blair. Callum Spriggs looks like he may have even lost a little bit of distance from where he was only 1 lap ago. And look at Luke Mitchell. He's putting in a great ride. He's got 3 desperate Kawasaki riders. Kyle Buckley, Ben Blythe and also Brad Swallow right behind him.
Swallow lining up for a passing manoeuvre on the outside in stay upright. Goes back to the inside. Kisses the apex. Discretion being the better part of valour. He did not want to tread where angels only fear to dare on the outside in the rubble.
Yeah, plenty of people have done it so far this weekend. In fact, Ben Blythe has been showered in rocks pretty much every race so far. A big one by Mitch Levy in the last race as they put their heads down now and get on the gas hard. Look at Kyle Buckley, he's right in the slipstream. Speaking of slipstreams, Lance, I thought that Braden Elliott may have been able to pull out of the slipstream there, but Gunther's Kawasaki just seemed to grow an extra pair of legs in that last 100 metres.
Well, I reckon that Braden Elliott is just testing the waters. We're only half race distance. Here he is up the inside. He's gone too wide. He's trying out where he can maintain the momentum that he needs to get first placing, because that's what he really needs to do to win this championship. You heard him in the interview with Briney on the start line saying that all he can do is the best he possibly can, and that's finish first.
Yeah, and we saw the pressure he was under at the last round at Whitton. He was able to uncork a race victory. He's already done it once today in the second race. He took back valuable points. The points distance is only 2 coming into this race. And as we said, there is 3 points between first and second. He went up 3 points, and then unfortunately for Braden Elliott, he ran a fraction wide and he lost 3 points as Troy Gunther went back into the lead. But at the moment, Callum Spriggs, who is sitting in 4th place, would only be on track for 19 points.
Out of turn number 9 they go. This is on lap 4 of 8. And the man in second place leads the championship if they finish by 2 points ahead of Callum Spriggs if the checkered flag was brought out now. So Elliott needs to get 1 place further forward to secure the championship. And likewise, Callum Spriggs needs to get 1, maybe even 2 places ahead to be able to secure the championship in his mind.
I'll tell you what, if Troy Gunther can take the win here, he will also get Callum Spriggs to buy him a milkshake at the end of this round, because he's taking valuable points away from Braden Elliott, as we see Phil Tatum hold out the pit board to allow Braden to know exactly what's happening right behind him.
Braden Elliott trying hard to get the upper hand of Troy Gunther down into Iphone. He's got it incorrect 2 consecutive laps down here, Phil. This time Linus Stern gets the drive through Iphone turn 2 into Iphone turn 3. One senses he's lining himself up out of over the top of West End Mazda Hill and down into DID Chains. Will it be there, or will it be in the next one? Berwick Leathers turn number 5, heading up the top of the hill to Kawasaki.
Yeah, I think it might have also been a case of keeping your powder dry for the time being. We're still about 2.5 laps to go in this race. Braden Elliott sitting right in there behind Troy Gunther, but look who's working his way up onto the back of Michael Blair's machine. It is Callum Spriggs, the Queenslander, who's starting to move his way forward. If he can get back past his fellow YRD supported rider Michael Blair and up into 3rd place, that should be enough to win the championship.
In previous years gone by, about this time of the race, the 3rd race of the day, especially being in the setting sun, the twilight here at Sydney Motorsport Park, one would be questioning the tyres. But haven't Dunlop and their control tyre been spectacular throughout 2015?
They have, and also the track temperature has dropped down considerably. That is going to will help tyre wear somewhat, and as they come into these last couple of laps, no one seems to be really starting to move around, Lance. I've just had the abacus out. If Michael Blair gets overtaken by Callum Spriggs, he will gain enough points. They will finish even on points and will go into a countback. I wouldn't want to be trying to figure out this championship if that should happen.
Well, the boys in CompuTime Racing Time Systems that have been doing a great job throughout this season will have that in hand. They'll be able to tell us pretty quickly at the end of this one if that is the case in terms of countback. In the meantime, back to the front of the pack, Troy Gunther. He's feeling an immense amount of pressure, and for a young man with a relatively small amount of experience in these sorts of circumstances, can't he hold his head up high at the end of this one?
Well, it would appear that it's an old head on young shoulders at the moment, Lance. But look at this. We've got the 2 YRD teammates that have been racing in Asia really battling it out as Braden Elliott goes back into the lead. He runs wide on the exit of turn 5. The Kawasaki is back in the lead as they go up to the top of Kawasaki Hill with an increased margin as well. Elliott's going to have to come back as Spriggs closes right onto the back of Michael Blair. He's in a position now where he may be able to get the slipstream as we go back to a slow motion replay. Have a look at the suspension on the board. That Kawasaki and Suzuki work hard to try and get the power to the ground and maximise front end grip.
It's a very important area of the motorcycle front end grip, as is shown here by Braden Elliott as he powers up the inside of Troy Gunther. That was in Berwick Leathers turn 5. He wasn't able to maintain the racing momentum needed or the track position, and therefore Gunther now leads again at the end of Swann Insurance Main Straight through turn number 1. But Elliott, by far and away, has not given up the chase.
No way in the world. He's got the head right down underneath the screen. In fact, it almost was underneath the paintwork as they came out of turn 1 and they go down now into Iphone turn 2. Callum Spriggs is up into 3rd place ahead of Michael Blair.
Well, that certainly changes the equation in no uncertain terms. So now the pressure is back on the shoulders of Braden Elliott. He needs to get up in front of Gunther to be able to secure the championship.
Yeah, they will be even on points if they finish in this order. So as they come round through turn 5 and up towards the Kawasaki corner, turn 6, it is Troy Gunther going for his first win. Braden Elliott going for his first YRD Supersport Championship. There was a replay of the overtake. Callum Spriggs, I don't know whether Blair let him past or Spriggs just got a dynamite run out of the stay upright corner.
Whatever the case, at the end of Dunlop, he secured himself potentially a championship manoeuvre there. Back to the front of the pack, out of turn number 9 for the run down Dunlop Straight for the second last time. Troy Gunther ahead of Braden Elliott, Callum Spriggs back in 3rd, and Michael Blair rounding up our top 4. But it's really about this man on board machine number 7 and the man behind him on board machine number 3. Where they finish will determine who takes the crown in 2015.
Well, they'll get the last lap board as they come down to complete this lap, Lance. We said at the beginning of this race that you couldn't have written a script this good. The script writers have been working overtime. The championship is going to be decided by the last lap of the final race here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and at the moment they will finish even on points.
Out of turn 1, Gunther, he doesn't care about that. He wants his maiden victory here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Braden Elliott's team were jumping over the fence there to urge him on with the number 1 signal in the hand. Right behind him, Callum Spriggs. He's been told by his team, just make sure you finish in third. You can't get up in front of second or first, so make sure you get across the line in third.
Yeah, that gap is way too big. There's no way in the world that Callum Spriggs can finish any better than third. But if he makes one error on this last lap, it could be Michael Blair that goes back ahead of him, and that will rob him of the championship, even if Braden Elliott finishes in second place. At the moment, though, let's just say that if Elliott wants to be guaranteed the victory, he has to get past the fresh F entry of the young rider from Queensland, Troy Gunther.
Out of turn 6, Kawasaki, into Race Tech, turn number 7 and 8, down into turn number 9, the stay upright corner. And Braden Elliott trying everything he possibly can. He shot to the inside, then decided the outside, gets the drive down Dunlop. Will he be able to kiss those apexes in Bell helmets? The 3 left-hand corners leading onto the final straight.
This has been a fantastic last half a lap from Troy Gunther now. He's got his head down. He's got a couple of bikes length lead over the man from Tumut, who is now desperate to try and get past. I think Troy Gunther might have enough. The Kawasaki is extremely fast in a straight line. Can he hold out Braden Elliott? Elliott pulls to the inside. Gunther lunges for the line and gets the win. His first win of the season, Lance, and isn't he happy about that?
Absolutely. Now it's all in the laps of the gods. Second place, Braden Elliott. Third place should be the man on board machine number 3, and that is Callum Spriggs. Michael Blair finishes in 4th. Everybody's out on the score chart looking at it. Equal on points at the end of 7 rounds of racing. It's gone to a countback. Will it be Callum Spriggs or will it be Braden Elliott? Here's the results of this third and final race, the final race of 2015. Gunther, Elliott, Spriggs, Blair, Levy, Buckley, Mitchell, Swallow, Blythe and Cambridge Oliveira rounding up your top 10. Bryden, Knight, Chiotti, Smith, Lee, Parker, Ruffley, Mayer and Warren Gibb rounding up your 19 finishers in this third and final encounter. Here we are with live action back in the pits at the moment. You can see there the man on board machine number 3. He got third. Is that enough to take the title out?
Well, first win of the year for Troy Gunther. Congratulations to the young 17-year-old. First man on the scene is crew chief Paul Grant Mitchell to congratulate him. No championship shirts coming out because, as we said, they finished on 373 points apiece.
Well, our abacus has certainly been calibrated. There it is, in the yellow. Callum Spriggs, your champion for the YRD Supersports in 2015, ahead of Braden Elliott. Michael Blair completes the podium. A great 4th place for Troy Gunther. Kyle Buckley, and rounding up the top 6, Brad Swallow. Let's go trackside and hear from our winners.
Yeah, it's a really amazing feeling. All the hard work put in by the team has really paid off, and I can't thank Chris Jones, Triple X Rated Race Suspension, Justin Woolwich and my mum and dad. It wouldn't have been possible without them.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I won the championship, so yeah, I wasn't really expecting it because I was expecting it, but it's just the tied points, and I thought I had to be in front of Braden, and then I come in and I'm the winner, so it's pretty cool. Braden has put on a really good fight today. He's coming back really strong, and he's been progressing over the years, and he's a champ really. But I'm really happy to get it. So yeah.
Well, we can confirm as the celebrations begin that it all came down, Phil Harland, to one single race win that separated the man on the left and the man on the top of the pops.
Yeah, you cannot get any closer than that, Lance, and a fitting way to end what has been an unbelievable season of YRD Supersport action.
Well, that brings down the checkered flag on season 2015 of the Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship, in particular the YRD Supersport Championship. It's been a pleasure to have your company throughout the year, as it has been with Phil Harland. On behalf of the entire team, we look forward to your company again soon.